Mr. Levy, thank you for talking to us tonight. My first question is, what are the challenges to Israel that are posed by a changing Middle East?
I think Israel faces a number of challenges it didn't in the past, from having more chaotic and ungoverned spaces with Al-Qaeda-ist groups in its southern and northern border, where those weren't the case before, having a more democratic Middle East, which may be more concerned with Palestinian disenfranchisement, having a more Islamist Middle East, a more radicalized region. So I think the challenges add up. They require a different strategy by Israel. We haven't really seen a different strategy yet. The central question to Israel's ability to adapt will be, can it change track on the Palestinian issue?
Secondly, what is Israel's strategy in responding to these challenges, and do you think it's sustainable?
The strategy at the moment is ad hoc. Respond on a piecemeal basis. I think that's, as a rule of thumb, not unreasonable. This is a very fluid period in the Middle East. However, part of the strategy is to entrench the position of occupation with the Palestinians. So while it's one thing to say, maybe we can't move dramatically immediately on the Palestinian issue, it's another thing to be provoking. It's another thing to not get control of your own radicals inside and outside the government, sometimes in the Prime Minister's office, when it comes to issues like settlement expansion, when it comes to issues like East Jerusalem, when it comes to an unwillingness to support what the world would consider a dignified dispensation for two sovereign states.
Thank you. And lastly, do you think that Israel can improve its position by adapting to these challenges, or is mitigating the damages the best that it can do at this point?
I think a government that is not committed to peace, and sadly I think that is probably an accurate description of the government in Israel today, will have to be in the mitigation business. I'm not sure that that mitigation is going to go so well. I think a far smarter strategy for Israel's security and long-term well-being would be to say, how do we at least address something that it is in our power to control, which is, are we going to occupy and deny the Palestinians their freedom and rights, or are we going to get out of that business of occupation? Which doesn't mean that all other problems disappear if Israel gets out of the occupation business. It does mean that a whole set of possibilities, of options for managing its regional affairs opens up to Israel if it's in a different place on the Palestinians, and that the current policies narrow and close and make less manageable Israel's position, its security, and its future in the changing Middle East.
Thank you so much for talking to us.
Pleasure.